Alpha's out there right now, and everybody is digging in. Well, at least everyone who's gotten invited. And as a man of the people, I don't get invited to these things because I represent the people, and not all people should be in the alpha. But here's the thing. There's a lot of content right now going on in alpha, and we can have a quick breakdown of it here from people who are actually playing so breezy. Let's get into this one.
The Midnight Alpha is officially underway, and the roller coaster of emotion is just getting started. Hey, it's Sol, and this is Warcraft Weekly, watching it all burn from the safety of my dilapidated home. You can help support the channel by liking this video, subscribing for more WoW coverage, and catching me where I'm live. As promised, the WoW team dropped a whole lot of bombs with a redo of the Midnight Reveal, the launch of the Alpha, and a lot to learn from it directly, as well as from a series of blog posts and interviews throughout the week. It's a lot more than what can be covered in a typical weekly. I'm just barely gonna scratch the surface here, and there's plenty of time to get to everything, especially as features get fleshed out, more of Midnight is explorable, and developers, well, they get scrambling around. So today I want to focus on the biggest highlights. You know, what's getting the most reactions from players, both the good and the bad, and I also want to spotlight a few smaller items I think should get a bit more attention and commentary. So let's start light. A lot of folks have been asking about how to get a house once it's available. What's the cost going to be? Thankfully, we have a very unambiguous answer, which is pretty much right away, and we can get it virtually free. I'm wording this a little bit carefully because, according to the developers, even a brand new player to the World of Warcraft can access housing straight away, going as far as to even let them skip Exile's Reach, get their level bumped up to 10, and they can buy a house even with only a few copper.
That's it. They want the cozy gamers, guys. That's what they want. They want the cozy gamers to play. So, there will be players in this game, and entire communities of World of Warcraft players in this game that only do player housing. They do nothing else. They log in, they RP in their homes, they finger pop each other in their homes, and then they log out. That'll be it. And there will be YouTube channels built around player housing, and there will be guilds just built around player housing, and this will be all they do. And maybe they venture out to the world to try to get some player housing items, right? Maybe they do a delve or something. I don't think they'll ever raid, but they'll just try to do some things to get achievements to get more player housing things. And they'll just go back to their home and redecorate again. And there'll be videos about the top 10 houses that players have built and all kinds of, you'll see this shit. It's going to happen. And Blizzard knows it. And it's going to be good for the game. I'm not a player housing Andy, never have been. But I understand why Blizzard's doing it. I do.
This is a very huge response. Cynics and even reasonable gamers wondered what the catch was going to be, right?
Not get too hardcore
what sort
now.
of gating would be involved. Now, in fairness, between the amount of the core that can be farmed up and how it's going to be spread across like 20 years of WoW's quests and instance content and professions and achievements and so on, with more to come, there's going to be a lot of manual work and gold spent throughout the housing experience. I'm glad to see that the first hit is free, you know what I mean? Also, earlier statements from the team indicated the core would be available via trading post. Knowing the nature of that kind of rotation, it led a lot of gamers, including myself, to hoard extra tender in anticipation of housing because we didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, Blizzard's
not going to do it right away.
Potential issue by just not including the core in the trading post, at least for now.
Yeah.
Endeavors.
I think they said
large enough of a rotating.
They said they're expected like maybe to wait like 6 months or something into the expansion before they start introducing player housing items via the trading post. But that won't stop them from putting player housing items on the WoW store. Guys, the WoW shop is going to have an entire freaking player housing tab. I guarantee it. That shit's going to make them a ton of money. Man, it's going to be great for Blizzard. I mean, maybe hey, if we try to look at the positive side, maybe if the game's making that much more money off of player housing, we get like better content to actually play in the game. Maybe. Yeah, probably not. It's just going to go straight to the investors' pockets. I'm lying. But I tried.
Scheme to grab our
Tried
attention,
to be positive on
and
it.
as we learn more, I'll be sure to overanalyze and tell them how to do their job. The devs also released a blog post detailing how to get virtually every reward there is in the Legion remix.
I thought this was cool. The Fountain of Manaroth, where they freaking drank the blood, the demon blood the orcs did. I think this is a cool thing for your house.
Week, including a look at the housing items available. It's not a short list, and from the read of it, we can, or maybe we should, buy multiples of these for use in our homes. Or
I'm going to get that Fell Fountain, and every day I walk by it, I'm going to slash spit in it and scream, "We will never be slaves." That's what I'm going to do. Badass cinematic moment.
our evil fell temples or whatever you want to build. The
Don't
rewards are
drink the
expected
demon
to be
blood.
available December 9th when the remix enters its final phase, although that's going to last over a month. And this is a week after the 11.27 patch when also player housing early access will begin. And we got hints suggesting, it's not confirmed yet, that the Brawlers Guild and Pandaren Heritage Armor will also be available.
Confirmed.
We'll have to wait and see what the 11.
Confirmed as of this morning. Read the notes. They are confirmed for 11.2.7. Brawlers Guild coming back and the Pandaren Heritage Armor, which is meh.
2.7 PTR has
Pandaren Heritage Armor is
I've been
alright.
telling you, it's going to be a very busy Christmas for gamers. The faction scorekeeping is never going to end.
I
But a
saw
good
that
handful
reel.
of Horde players felt satisfied with how
Discord.
Silvermoon City was divided between what's considered a sanctuary and what is exclusively for the Horde. As it turns out, basically the original
old Silvermoon.
Silvermoon from the Burning Crusade.
Yeah, I don't get why any Horde are complaining about this. I've seen, because like 2/3 of the city really now is cross faction, and the Horde are complaining, and I'm like, bro, you guys didn't lose anything. What are you complaining about? You still have the entirety of original Silvermoon that belongs to you. I don't get what people are bitching about. They literally lost nothing. They just gained the cross-faction part of the city. So, this is old Silvermoon, essentially. By the way, for scale and size, look at how much bigger the city's getting. This is the current gate that you walk through. That little side entrance that we go through because the Dead Scar literally runs this way, and then this entire part of the city is blank. Now we're getting all of this, and the Horde are keeping what they had. They're keeping the old part of the city, which I think is a fine trade-off to get a city that's like 3 times the size now. Also, forming up an alliance raid, going to push directly in here and completely fuck everything up. Everyone's going to die. That's my plan.
It's the Horde area. The new areas are shared
Live
with
on
both
stream.
factions, but don't be fooled. Old Silvermoon has also been fully
We're gonna raid the
reimagined
old
and
part
made
of
to
it.
be much larger than
If you're an alliance player and you are in the Twitch stream, now I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch of Horde players in the Twitch stream who are going to try to counter our raid. Good luck with that, because I'll be leading that shit. I'll freaking one-shot you. But I'm planning on forming an alliance raid and seeing how deep we can push into the Horde part of the city. Because supposedly, based on what the Blizzard devs have said, you're not going to get ported out like you do in Dalaran. You know, in Dalaran, you try to go to the opposite faction's hub. In Dalaran, you just get ported out by the mages. They said it's going to be a kill-on-sight thing. So the guards are going to attack us. And good luck with that, guards. I'm going to dig deep into that section.
the handful of hallways it used to be. There are basically two
I'm gonna form a
functioning
40 man.
cities
We're gonna
that
go
make
in
up
there.
Silvermoon as the whole, so those who want to keep to their own space, they can outside of questing. And this feels like the cleanest way to go. The Horde exclusive side of Silvermoon is larger than the original Silvermoon city. And when it comes down to it, Alliance characters have access to something like 2/3 of the city, right? Horde characters, though, they get access to 3/3 of the city. They're not losing anything they already had. This shared space, however, is going to play a part in the story, and it becomes apparent almost straight away. It'll
Right.
be interesting to see folks take sides over this alliance occupation, as some are going to call it, while others are like, no, this is about the defense of the Sunwell. One of the more jarring roller coasters I've seen in a while has to do with Transmog unlocks coming at midnight. The announcement started off good. Like the long and short of it was,
Yeah, this is about
if
the
you complete
catalyst.
a tier set of a given difficulty, as in, you get every piece, you'll activate some doohickey, some mechanism that'll unlock the appearances of all the variant colors from lower
That's great.
difficulties.
Yeah, it's
So
great.
basically, if you have all myth track gear, you'll be able to unlock the raid finder, the normal, and the heroic appearances too.
Yeah.
People loved this announcement a ton until they saw the next note that upgrading gear will no longer unlock additional appearances, meaning one won't be able to farm up all the hero track pieces and upgrade them to rank 5 to unlock the myth appearance, which would have unlocked every other difficulty going down. So suddenly this system
Right.
really sucks. An interview Mr. GM held with Ian Hazzikostas revealed this is an active conversation internally, and there could be some changes.
I think they'll
In the
change
meantime,
it.
there are plenty of takes like, don't do that. Leave the first part in with the unlocking of appearances, but don't move forward with those later restrictions.
Right.
And that's a perfectly fine take. We'll see what they think about it.
I think they shouldn't change it, because technically, if you got the lower part, you already got it, and now you're upgrading to get the higher part. So retroactively, it's not gonna. By the way, that change for the tier set appearances is retroactive. So anything you have right now that's like sitting there, you have like a heroic tier set from 2 expansions ago, you're gonna unlock all the other ones automatically when this change gets put in the game. So that's awesome. But the other way the changes, I think, just change it back. Leave it that way it is. Where if somebody gets a champion level gear set and they upgrade it to the max, so they get to the eye level of the normal tier set, give them the normal tier set. It'll be fine.
About that. I happen to agree with folks who are arguing against this bad part of the change by just sheer principle. Because I get it when people say, hey, dude, if you want myth appearances, you got to do myth level content. The thing is, though, we've had this kind of system of upgrading and unlocking for 2 years across 6 seasons, starting with season 2 of Dragonflight. And I haven't heard more than just like a little bit of grumbling over the casuals scoring mythic appearances. There hasn't even been a lot of back and forth trying to shout down opinions.
Right.
In fact, I recall the loudest it ever got was when we first learned about this. It was one of those cases of
Envy. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge. I just keep it the way it is. Keep it the way it is. Now, if I had to pick between the current iteration where they're going to give us the tier sets from what we got and below, or this older version where you upgrade and get the tier set, I'd rather have the newer version, if I'm being honest. It just fits my playstyle more, where I try to do heroic raid, get AOTC every single season. Yeah, I do that sometimes. I do it every season actually with the fucking Twitch raid. But unlocking the rest below it, that'd be nice. I think that'd be nice, because right now I use my conversion catalyst to get those transmogs. I won't have to do that anymore.
Being mad at the news more than the actual reality of it, because in game, these people, they're like 2 ships passing in the night. And in other words, it's been fine. I do have some other thoughts though, typical me. I actually find the idea of unlocking the lower difficulty appearances with the higher level kind of sort of elitist in a way. I think it sends mixed messages to collectors who might not get that same sense of satisfaction when collecting appearances as they go, as content is first released. All that matters for them is when can they start farming those myth appearances, whether it's the current way or whatever Blizzard is proposing. A new drop should always matter a little bit, right? Whether it's a gear upgrade that helps one handle higher difficulties, or a transmog unlock, a souvenir to show what you've accomplished that day.
Yeah.
But let me come at this from kind of a different angle. We already have a raid renown system, and while it might not be super exciting, it's been well accepted as something to make continued raiding feel good.
Yeah.
The Manaforge Vandals introduces these small features that give currencies to unlock cloak appearances thanks to the Reshiraps being irreplaceable, and other appearances once we unlock that level. Now, while there will be concerns from Delve people who don't want to do any raiding at all, why can't this system also be used to unlock transmog appearances regardless of our skill level? I don't have a juicy, awesome idea, but I'm just asking the devs to look towards that direction in their conversations. What if at a late renown level, players can unlock a thing where they can start earning tokens to purchase transmog appearances they don't already have? They can buy whatever armor or weapon appearance, and all they have to do is just, keep raiding, keep killing bosses. Folks have been asking for more deterministic ways to farm up appearances long after Legacy mode is unlocked, and this kind of moves in that direction. And there are a lot of ways to go about that, but I don't want to distract viewers with the gritty specifics. I just think the main takeaway should be to create a path or a feature for the long term that doesn't compel people to hoard gear for the catalyst across multiple alts, or to restrict the most efficient method of transmog unlocks to people who can either farm myth.
If they really wanted to keep people raiding, what they should do is have the full best looking set. They just make it it'll always be the best looking colorway unlocked once you fully complete the renown track. Oh my god, the pitchforks would come out because the renown track is time gated. You can't grind that shit out. You can come back later and catch up with it, but it's time gated. Every week you can only warn one track on that renown. So I shouldn't even be putting this out there because Blizzard might listen to this shit and actually do it. But if they put the best looking tier set and you get the full set when you hit the cap of the renown track, at the end you would force people to continue to raid all the way through the entire patch until they get it. It'd be fucking horrible. But it would be good, but it would be bad.
Track now, or they just have to be patient enough to farm myth track once legacy mode kicks in. So we got to talk about 2 big changes: how Blizzard is trying to simplify class rotations, and new clarifications on how combat add-ons are going to be
best looking is subjective. Yeah, but I think most people can agree the mythic version of the set typically is the best looking set because it's got the most detail in terms of the colorway. It's not always that way. We just looked at the tier sets and I didn't always think the myth track was the best one. But if I had to say on average which one's the best, it's the myth track one.
adversely affected, or maybe just outright being nuked going into midnight.
Unsub from
A recent statement from the Weak Auras team made it pretty clear that going forward,
or they create a 5th version of the tier set that just is specific to the renown track. You could do that too. You can just create a new colorway that wouldn't have typically existed but will exist for the end of the renown track.
won't have an updated version for Midnight. In so few words, the work required to retool Weak Auras to play nice with these new rules, a stripped down version of Weak Auras would be unrecognizable. What's unfortunate is there are a lot of Weak Auras that have nothing to do with combat, have nothing to do with add-on changes or restrictions. They provide visual flair, they replace default nameplates, they show Xal'atath's feet on screen somewhere. As a consequence, those features as we know it, they're going to go away. Weak Auras has a potential future, but understandably, the devs just decided to not continue down that path. Now, it doesn't mean there's no future for add-ons.
They're changing that, though. They just released a blue post this morning that said that they're going to work on not eliminating anything that has to do with out-of-combat shit. That's what the blue post literally said. It was like, we're working on making sure that add-ons that have to do with non-combat related parts of the game will still work, because right now they don't.
As though Weak Auras were the only game in town. Honestly, it feels like over the years, Weak Aura sucked up all the oxygen, and for good reason.
The Weak Aura guys announced that they're not going to make it anymore. Is that what it is? Well, that's their fault, though. That's not... Blizzard didn't do that to them. They just fucking stopped making them. They could still make Weak Auras that don't have anything to do with combat.
It's been
but I think they know that the reason why people download Weak Auras is because of combat. That's why. So that's why they're stopping.
Strong platform for customization and add-on kinds of features. Over the next few months, the add-on community as a whole is going to respond to all these changes. Some of it with anger, of course. Some of them are going to quit. But I imagine that more won't be affected by these changes because, well, maybe they don't make those kinds of add-ons. Meanwhile, others are going to find a new way forward. Like, new add-ons are popping up almost literally every day over on CurseForge. Most of them are from beginner creators just getting started, let's be fair. But someone's gonna fill the gaps being left. There's a reason why I've never really featured Weak Auras as an add-on here on this channel, and it's because, in the end, Weak Auras is just one add-on. Now, given this stage of the alpha, the first build...
I love this too. It's Stalwart. It helps to have never used combat add-ons. Like myself, I really don't use combat add-ons either. And people tell me, Sam, why don't you fucking download the Weak Aura so this becomes really easy for you? Why don't you do that? You know why I don't do that? Because I'm a Giga Chad. You think when I got real-life problems, I go looking for a Weak Aura, or do I just fucking solve the problem? That's right. That's how I do it. That's how I treat the game, too. I just solve the problem via skill. So guess what's going to happen right now when all the Weak Auras are gone and all the get good guys who've been saying download the Weak Auras no longer have them. Now the tables have turned. Look at how the tables have turned. Now I'm going to get to tell them, oh, you don't know how to play the fucking game without your add-ons? Get good, bitch. That's right.
There are a lot of concerns, and I encourage you all to bring them up. You don't have to be, super knowledgeable or fully informed of all the changes coming. Like, I don't understand it all myself, but I do suggest that you leave in the comment a list of add-ons that you don't want to see get nuked, or the Weak Auras that need an add-on solution, but you haven't found one yet. It seems like it's too late for Weak Auras and other add-ons, but I'd say think of ones that you use normally to help with quality of life or accessibility. The creator of Deadly Boss Mods shared his concerns, but he's also sticking around and had some very good suggestions, some of which Blizzard has already responded to and will make changes in future builds. So it's not a conspiracy that they also invited a bunch of add-on authors in this first alpha build. They normally don't do that. But I also think we should hear directly from the players too, so sound off. There are a lot of moving parts with these midnight changes. Add-ons are being nerfed while Blizzard is producing new built-in features to replace many of our needs, and will also change encounter design to not require dependency on said add-ons. On top of that, Blizzard's doing a big pass on combat overall in the World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and these first build notes
reflect a lot of pruning abilities and talents that might have introduced a lot of button bloat for players. I don't really do DPS or healing, so I don't have the best perspective, but at a glance, it seems like a lot of the pruning is targeting the extra buttons that make up a large rotation. Like maybe you have to press this and then that button to make this other button hit extra hard. So they're trying to shave some of that away. Right. Now, like I said, it's not the best point of view, but as a tank, I no longer have this one talent that gives an opportunity for greater cooldown reductions. If I have high haste, it's a very important stat to make this talent work. Instead, I just have some lower cooldowns for one of my major abilities overall. There's another ability called Eye of Tyr. It's a decent defensive. That's gone. Kind of a bummer. Instead, I have a talent to give me 2 charges of one of my more potent defensives, though, and that's kind of cool. Now,
Yep.
these changes also cause some gaps in my ability to chain defensives for high damage events or big pulls or whatever, but on the other side of things, Blizzard's going to be adjusting combat mechanics, so tanks will be able to handle these new
Thank
versions
God.
of high damage events and big pulls. Now, I understand it's a
Fucking
very...
the squishification of tanks. I don't know why Blizzard did it. I still don't understand it. Ever since Dragonflight, the post-Dragon, they decided to nerf the shit out of tanks, made everything so much harder on healers for no reason. And guess what, Blizzard? Now there's nobody wants to heal. Yeah, so we need to fix that, please.
a copium-filled comment, but they're also setting that expectation for themselves, and we should call them out on it. The immediate reaction to this news has understandably been as dramatic as the cuts themselves. Like, this looks like a very heavy-handed approach, at least from this first build. I'm seeing folks talk as if their class was reduced to like a 2 or 3 button rotation.
Yeah, people are
Given the state of
dramatic.
the alpha, it's hard to judge. Like, my spec doesn't even have the Apex talent or even new hero talents to look at, but there's genuine concern that World of Warcraft is going to feel dumbed down between these simple class rotations and simpler encounter mechanics to counter the loss of the add-ons that's simplified class rotations and encounter mechanics, and
Yes,
that's the
exactly.
show. I want to reiterate my goals for the Midnight Tussle.
This is the argument that I don't understand. Is like people are saying, well, they're getting rid of the add-ons. I'm not going to be able to play the game because the game's too complicated. And then Blizzard's saying we're going to uncomplicate the game a little bit because you're not going to have add-ons. And people are crying, well, now the game's not complicated. I don't like it anymore. Hey, what? Did you just hear what you just said? You said that the game is too complicated to play without add-ons. How could Blizzard possibly remove add-ons? This won't be playable. And then Blizzard's response is, we're removing add-ons, but we're going to make the game more simple so you can play it without add-ons. And the people's response is, why are you going to make the game more simple? That's stupid. This is going to be too easy now. I don't know. It hurts my head. It hurts my head. But it's very obvious what Blizzard's doing. Getting rid of add-ons means decomplicating the game to make it playable without add-ons.
There's learning housing,
Okay,
so I can
come on.
answer all your questions and help with feedback.
Walk
I'm going
with
to
me here.
champion the features that I hear the most outcry over because the devs have made it pretty clear they're going to slowly roll out features as they get the foundations of housing solidified. So their focus will be on getting the reward structure of endeavors down and give us a good experience with indoor and outdoor decor. The rest is up to, well, who's the loudest? Like, hey, dude, when are we going to see weapon and armor racks? Or how about presenting pets and members of our warband? Like, how about that stuff? The team's talked about all these things and presented the challenges they face in these instances. We can be ecstatic for housing while holding pitchforks, campaigning for the things we care about. One of the things I'd like to see someday, I want to see class and profession-specific exteriors. Like, hey, what if I want to open up my own Paladin Order Hall or engineering workshop? That would be very cool.
Oh, God,
I also want to do
garrisons.
my typical study of professions from top to bottom in this expansion. And we're going to try to get some initial impressions and changes and whatnot. All that stuff's going to come out soon, but the real meat of things, it's probably not going to happen until beta, when we have special vendors to make the exploration of professions that much faster. But first, there's going to be what's in front of us very soon, the Legion Remix. You can expect an easy-to-follow Phase 1 guide that'll take you through actually most of what the Remix has to offer, how to bronze farm, and more. So let's wrap things up with a very hearty thanks to all y'all who've been joining me for the live streams and checking out the videos. Fellow patrons, thank you so much, and let's give a big welcome to Indopon. Thanks for
video.
joining the Patreon team where nothing really happens, but I appreciate you anyway, along with you. Viewer, you made it to the end, you fed the algorithm. So now all you're going to do is like this video, subscribe for more WoW coverage, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.
Nice video. Overall, cool stuff happening in Alpha. Again, the balance between making the game more simple and removing add-ons at the same time, I think they both have to happen together to make the game fun to play still. So it's fine. It's fine. The sky is falling, but it's fine. I think we'll be okay. I think the changes are they're heading in the right direction. Are there going to be slip-ups? Are there going to be mistakes made? Yes. But overall, do I think this is better for the health of the game? I do. Nice video here from So Breezy.